right, so welcome to today's class. And in today's class, we're going to be looking at a more practical part of trend lines. All right, so this time around, we are on the chart live. Okay, so just to recap of the last class, I told you guys that trend line or trading trend line is one way we can actually get to catch the beginning of an impulsive move. All right, so maybe let's assume we're on the downtrend and we get to have series of lower lows, lower highs. I suppose you should be conversant with them right now. Okay, so let's say we're on a downtrend and then we get to have this. Okay, so it means we can actually try to connect the lower highs. All right, in this way. Okay, we can try to connect the lower highs, and then we anticipate that on the next touch of this trend line, we will actually see price move down. Okay, so now in today's class, I'm going to be showing you how you can actually apply this to your charts. All right, so now one thing you need, I'm going to tell you some things you need to know about trend lines, because there are kind of rules guiding trend lines. So at this point, I'm going to give you some basic rules, and then as you go on, I'm going to be giving you a little more advanced rules. All right, so now first of all, when you're trading trend line, okay, I'll mostly advise you trade the third touch. Okay, you trade the third touch. Now when we say the third touch, this is what we mean. Now if you get to connect your trend lines, all right, you get to connect your trend lines this way. All right, sorry for that, I'm coming. Let's assume you get to connect your trend lines this way. All right, now this happens to be the first touch of the trend line. This is the second touch of the trend line. Now I will advise you trade it on the third touch. Okay, so at this point I advise you sell. Okay, now of course you can actually have scenarios whereby you get to have almost 4 or 5 touches. Okay, but then let's assume you can have scenarios whereby you get to have 4 or 5 touches. Okay, something like this. Something of this nature. Okay, now of course it can happen, but you should be careful. After price has made the third touch already, you should be careful. You really should be careful about other touches, because in most cases the trend line now becomes weak, and then price will most likely break through and then go for a buy later on. Right, so you should try your best to catch the third move. Okay, so now when you are trading trend lines, okay, make sure your trend line is at a decent angle. I think it should be angle 45. Okay, now when you're drawing your trend line, draw your trend line at a decent angle. Don't draw your trend line like this. If you have something like this, all right, let me give you an instance. Let me say you have something like this. Guys, this is not the trend line. Don't do this on your chart. Okay, this is almost a vertical line, so it's not making sense. All right, but then make sure your trend line is between, okay, at least something like this is fair enough. Maybe at 30 degrees is also fair enough. All right, you can actually have this. All right, you can maybe have something of this nature, but then don't have a straight line, a straight trend line. Doesn't make sense. All right, don't have something like this. No, it does not make sense. No. Okay, but then we're going to dive into the live chart, and then of course I'm going to show you examples. All right, so let's jump into the charts and look at some real life examples. All right, I've already outlined some trend lines. Okay, now in this case, this happens to be what? A downtrend. All right, this happens to be a downtrend. Now this is actually a trading strategy, and it's a trading approach. Now one thing you must know about trading strategy is that no trading strategy is 100%. Okay, so of course you are going to have some failures sometimes. Okay, you're going to have your setup fail sometimes, but then the most important thing is that it works 100% of the time. All right, I'm sorry, is that it works most of the time. All right, but then no strategy is 100%. Okay, no strategy is 100%. Now this is the trend line approach. Okay, now we have what? First touch, second touch. All right, now you can look at how neat the third touch happened. You can see how neat it just touched the trend line and decided coming down. Now this fourth touch went a little bit above the trend line before it finally went down. All right, so you see what I told you guys about the third touch. The best entry you can get should be the third touch. All right, in most cases. Now let us look at more examples. All right, let us look at more examples. Now in this case right here, all right, this trend line failed. All right, in this case the trend line failed. This was a very sweet entry, but then it failed because we have the first touch, the second touch right here, Now the third touch, market went up a little, but you wouldn't compare the move. If I was actually going to take this entry, I wouldn't even look to TP on sign if I was actually going to use trend lines. But then maybe you will have got stopped at break even. What is break even? We are new traders. What is break even? Okay, let me explain what break even is. You already have an idea about stop loss. Now, when you place a trade and you are in profit, you can actually move your stop loss into your profit so that even when the market reverses to come against you, you will get stopped out in profit. So when you get stopped out in profit without hitting your take profit, it means you have been hit at break even. All right. So now let's assume you took a buy here and you are in profit, and then you just move your stop loss above your entry, and then price comes back to hit your stop loss. So you will have actually closed out in break even at that point. Okay. So now let's look at more examples. All right. Now at this point, you have first touch over here, second touch over here. Now this is actually a downtrend, so we're connecting the series of highs, the lower highs. All right. So we have the first touch here, the second touch right here, and then the third touch right here. Now you can see how sweet this market sold. And again, the fourth touch, you can see it was not so smooth, but then it's still sold. All right. So have at the back of your mind that the third touch in most cases will be your best bet. All right. Now let's look at another example, guys. Let's look at another example. Now, in this case, we have what? The first touch, the second touch, and then the third touch. You can see how sweet that is, all right? The third touch, you can see how sweet that is. Now, let's look for possibly more examples, all right? Now, if you paid attention from the last class, I said that when you're drawing your trend line, you should look to draw them on the 1 hour time frame, the 4 hour time frame, and the daily time frame, right? Now, the truth about this is that over time, when you get conversant with this strategy, believe me, you can even use it on your 15-minute time frame. Okay, I know maybe you might not know we have different types of trading time frames, right? Now we have different types of trading time frames. We have the 1 hour, we have the 4 hour time frame, we have the daily time frame, we have the 15 minutes time frame, we have the 5-minute time frame, we have the 1 minute. You can literally look at them on your chart. Okay. Now these are the time frames we have on trading view. Now if you go to MT5, you're actually gonna see different time frames of MT5. Maybe you're just going to see the 1 hour, the 4 hour, the daily, the weekly, the monthly, the 15 minutes, the 30 minutes, the 5 minutes, and the 1 minute. All right. You wouldn't really see the seconds time frame. That is why we get to the trading view, because it has a better interface. All right. So these time frames, they basically show you how price moves in different times. All right. Now let me give you an instance. You can go to the market and want to buy something. You said, hey, how much did they even sell one bag of rice last week? Now you are mostly looking at the weekly time frame in that scenario. Let me say, for example, I'm going to take that again. Let's say you go to the market and then you ask, hey, how much did they sell a bag of rice last week? Or how much was a jerrycan of oil sold yesterday? Now, these are different time frames. How much was a jerrycan of oil sold in the morning? That was 3 hours ago. All right. So that is how we basically look at price in different times. It helps you in decision making. Over time, you're going to understand what time frame analysis is all about, and then over time, you're going to get to become a better trader yourself. All right. So it's nothing challenging. It's something easy. Okay. Now I'm going to go down to M15. I'm going to show you some examples on M15. Now M15 means 15 minutes. The M stands for minutes. All right. So M15 means 15 minutes. Now over time, you're going to get to understand you're going to get to understand about trading time frames. All right. So for now, let's just stick to what we're talking about, which is what? Trend lines. All right. Now, we have the first touch of this trend line here. We have the second touch here, and then third touch, you can see. Okay. Price went a little bit below, and then poof, we had that move up. All right. So you can see when you get to master this trend line thing, you can actually use it on the 15 minutes time frame. You can really use it on the 15 minutes time frame. So you just need to practice. All right. You just need to practice. Now, over time, I'm still going to be dropping some videos on this. All right. I'm still going to be dropping some videos on what's it called? On trend lines. All right. So we have one here again. We have first touch here, second touch here, then the third touch. Okay. You can see how the third touch was so smooth. All right. You can see it. Smooth move upwards. So for now, okay, digest this. Now, what you need to do is you need to go to your chart, all right, look at 3 different currencies, and then get to find trend line setups, 10 for each currency. That is a total of 30 setups, right? Do this, do it for yourself, all right? When you get to practice, you get better. If you don't do it, you're shooting yourself on the leg, all right? So go on your chart, practice this thing just as you have seen me do it. All right, watch this video over and over again until you understand. All right, now looking at this downtrend, we have a trend line here, guys. This thing is simple. Now, I told you that sometimes you can have multiple touches. You can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 touches over here. I told you your best bet is always the third touch. Fourth touch, you might be lucky, you might not. Fifth touch, you should be careful. All right. So that is what you should do. Okay, go to your chart and practice. Go to your chart and practice. Go to your chart and practice, guys. So I'm going to just highlight this last one, and then I'm going to leave you to do your assignment, guys. You see, we have the first touch here, second touch here, third touch, which is your best bet. The fourth touch went a little bit, the trend line, and then later on reversed. All right. In most cases, believe me, you're not going to want this to happen to you. So your best bet is always the touch, is always the third touch. All right. So I believe you gained a lot from this video. All right. Make sure you practice. Make sure you're really going to get 70% better when you do the practice yourself. All right. So until I see you in my next class, I wish you happy learning and happy trading. Bye for now.